So if something makes you suffer externally, some circumstance, you should totally do the best you can so that you change it. That's obvious, that's common sense. However, the suffering I'll be referring to in this video is more of an inner suffering that doesn't seem to have an external cause. It's inner suffering, be it emotional or psychological, which they seem to go hand in hand together. Emotional and psychological suffering, they seem to perpetuate one another. And that's exactly the suffering we'll be referring to in this video, and how to actually ease that, how to actually get past it, so to say. Now, what I've realized is that first, let's see where that suffering comes from. For most of the time, inner suffering comes from the self talk, because the mind is always narrating a story. You're doing whatever you're doing in your life, and then the mind makes a constant commentary. For example, you're doing something, and then the mind says, "Oh, I hate this. I don't like this. This doesn't make me feel any good. How long do I need to do this?" And this commentary just perpetuates the feelings of "I don't want to do this" or "I don't like this experience." And that self-talk is what builds momentum eventually, and then it becomes an experience where you feel it's unbearable. You feel like you cannot take anymore. And I know that feeling very well, because me myself, I've experienced this many times, and I'm not free of this. So I'm not here to tell you how to be completely and forever free of that. What I can provide you with is actually what works me move through that period, and what helps me again rebalance myself and just ease that inner suffering, inner turmoil that the self-talk seems to be causing. For many people, we don't realize that the self-talk is what creates the unbearable suffering. I'm not saying that there is no pain. There may be emotional or psychological pain, but what's making it unbearable, at least it feels like that, it's that self-talk. So once you're in that state where it feels unbearable and you feel like you can't take it anymore, the only thing I have found so far in my life is that suffering shouldn't be resisted. What I mean by being resisted is that you trying to get rid of it. Because the more you try to get rid of that inner suffering, the worse it gets actually. Because you're creating more resistance, which suffering is in itself a kind of resistance. So once you start resisting the suffering by you wanting to get rid of it, you're actually perpetuating it more and you're making it worse. So what you want to do in these kinds of situations, and even if it's not unbearable suffering, even if it's like just kind of a background suffering, what you want to do is you want to let it be. You want to stop trying to get rid of it. That is the only thing I have found that really works. It's to let it be. Don't try to get rid of it. Don't fight it. Just relax into it. Let it be. And that is a very subtle process. You cannot force yourself into letting things be. That's the key moment here. Because usually what I've observed is that the suffering, the psychological or emotional suffering, it builds up, and then it comes to a point where it becomes unbearable, at least it feels like it. And then, but it comes to that point because you resisted it, because you didn't want to feel it. You kind of try to get rid of it by somehow fighting it. And because it gets to that point where it feels unbearable, now you have no other things, no other choices but to actually let it be. Let that suffering be there. Emotional, psychological suffering, again, they go hand in hand. Just let it be. If you can, even relax into it. And again, that's a very subtle process. Um, so just when you catch yourself that, let's say, the self talk is perpetuating that inner turmoil, then let it be. Let the self talk be there. Don't resist it. Let the suffering be there. Don't resist it. And if you can, just a little relax into it. That is indeed the only way I have found that gets me out of that suffering, of that state of suffering. That's the only method I have found so far that really works. I don't resist it, I don't fight it, I don't try to get rid of it, I let it be. That is so powerful because that is the principle of surrender. Once you surrender to the inner turmoil, to the suffering that you may have been experiencing, you're no longer putting more energy and attention into it. And remember, wherever you put your energy, that thing will grow. So you don't want to be putting all your attention on that suffering, although that can happen, because if it becomes to a point where it feels unbearable, you cannot do anything else than pay attention. But that is a very deep lesson you're learning there. You're learning the principle of non resistance, the principle of surrender. And as far as I can tell you, that's the way that I've been introduced by the universe, or whatever you want to call it, existence. I've been introduced to the principle of surrender and how powerful it actually is. It's true that specific situation of inner suffering that seems to have no external cause. And I thought there was something wrong with my external life, so I tried to fix things. But it doesn't matter what changes, that inner suffering was always there. And now it still returns when I unconsciously start resisting the self-talk and the suffering and the pain that may happen internally, and I forget about the surrender principle. So it builds momentum, and then I'm like, oh wait, I'm resisting it. I forgot the principle of surrender, which is let it be. Let it be here. Welcome it. If you have inner turmoil or suffering, let it be. Don't fight it, don't resist it. And you'll see how powerful this is. So that's again the best method I have found so far. And let me know in the comment section if that resonates with you. Have you experienced the principle of surrender? Or are you still kind of not sure what surrender means and how it feels like? Because what I've realized is that surrender and letting it be is the last thing we do. We try everything else before that. Why? Because the mind is obsessed with control. It doesn't like letting go. It's counterintuitive to the mind, because the mind's job is to scan the environment and to keep you safe. So once it recognizes a threat, it tries to get rid of it so that it keeps you safe. That's the basic survival mechanism of the mind. But when it comes to inner suffering, and what you realize that on this spiritual path, the mind plays a big part in your spiritual awakening and the spiritual work you do. And for the most of the time is that you learn how to not buy into what the mind says all the time, how to not feed it more than it needs to be fed. So letting the suffering be there without you trying to get rid of it, again, is the last option we usually go to, because there are no other options left. We've tried everything. We've tried changing the environment. We've tried going to different places, and that inner suffering is still there. And the last option you have left is to let it be. Don't resist it, don't fight it, let it be, and see how that feels. I'm sure you get some revelation, some realization of, you just clearly see that letting it be is the only way through, is the only way to ease that suffering. It's by not fighting it at all and not wanting it to go away. Just accept it. Accept that it's here. Accept, okay, I'm suffering. If you can locate it where in the body the suffering is. Is it somewhere in the mind, psychological? Is it emotional? Again, they go hand in hand together most of the time. So try to locate it in the body, or is it in the mind, and then just rest in that, and then see how powerful this is, because I cannot really do that for you. No one can do that for you. You have to really get to a point where nothing else works and you have no other choice left than to surrender to the suffering and let it be there and welcome it, not fight it, accept it. That is extremely powerful principle, the principle of surrender. So try it out and see how this works out for you, and if you want, you can let me know in the comment section. So yeah, that's it for today. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next video. Again, leave me any questions if you have in the comment section down below. I'll be very happy to answer them, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.